Is live good? Yes. Perfect. Hopefully. I'll let some folks join and confirm that everything sounds good, is performing exactly how I need it to, and then we can hopefully have some interesting conversations. All right. How are you guys doing, though? I asked that. I don't actually have it up on the screen yet. Let me pull this up right now, and I'm about to see some folks. Yep, there we go. We've got Sardukar Throat Singer, the Medic's Dove Stormio, good to see you. Senor Chuck E. Cheese, good to see you. Charles Entertainment Cheese. Will the Lemon, Razitaire, I think. Wolfie Greymane. Frozen Fire, Big Grey Donut, the Unicorn Gundam. Is this modded MCC? This is not modded MCC. This is a standard MCC. Doing better than Halo 3, apparently. Oh, you saw that Twitter thread. That was some hardcore gaslighting, trying to pretend that Halo 3 was not a super successful shooter at its time. Win social games. Yeah, we can do these. What are the... Okay, we got to do Reach and Combat Evolved this week. We can do that. Multiplayer social games. How are you guys doing? Because I couldn't tell you how Halo is doing. That's such a cool screen background. Right? I like it. Oh, let me turn up the microphone. Is it a little bit too quiet? What do you mean by imploding? So Halo, if you've been looking at the news lately, Halo, there's some things that are happening at 343 and they're not great, and they don't exactly signal confidence in the future of the brand, I guess. Read the OG Thrawn trilogy. Oh, Grand Admiral Thrawn. Got it. My friend, have a good day. That probably could be. I was thinking of actually getting the Expanse series, the novels. But I could probably actually read the Thrawn trilogy. I just don't know if I'm too interested in Grand Admiral Thrawn as a character. Like, I get that he's very smart, but just, I don't know. Maybe I'll have to read it to get it, you know? Let me make sure this game... Okay, good. It's capped to 60 so that the frame rate doesn't go completely bananas on us. Come on, come on, come on, come on. There we go. Okay, we got our new gun. Yes. Okay. Easy peasy. Okay, maybe not so easy peasy. Give me a second. I'll die and then I'll respond to you guys. Okay. Middle of the afternoon gaming, says fellas. Halo is shatting all over itself. Yeah, so the word on the street is... well, not word on the street. It's more overt. 343 has been heavily downsized. Their campaign team is all but gone now. They don't have the staff and resources to make a new AAA title. They have hopefully enough resources to work on Halo Infinite, at least for a bit, but it seems like going forward they're going to be focusing on multiplayer content, downplaying single-player content, and just kind of focusing on whatever brings money in, because right now it's not the campaign stuff. Which sucks a lot, because a lot of time and money went into the campaign of Halo Infinite, and... Oh boy. Hey, Q-Alter just gifted 1 Late Night Gaming membership to Will the Lemon. Welcome to the channel, Will the Lemon. Welcome to being a channel member. Bro does a phenomenal job. I appreciate that. Try the audiobooks on Audible. Oh, you're talking about Mark Thomas, the narrator. Gotcha. Okay, never mind. It wasn't a compliment for me. That's okay though. Yeah, so the future of Halo, it's kind of like murky right now. It seems like all eyes are right now on Tatanka, whatever that's going to be coming out of Certain Affinity. It's allegedly being made in the Unreal Engine. At least Jason Schreier seems to believe so.
1 minute remaining.
Sean W. also called it out as being in the Unreal Engine just a little bit ago. Some of the folks that I talked to, they recall it actually being made in the Slipspace engine. So right now, because Jason Schreier has confirmed it, I'm going to defer to his and Sean W. Because they seem to be a little bit more up to date right now on what's going on. Yeah, so I guess just like in general, Halo, it's not doing too hot, you know. Things just don't seem great. How are you feeling about Halo's current situation overall? I mean, I don't feel good, you know. Especially somebody who kind of tied his livelihood to the Halo franchise, which I'm starting to actually branch out into freelance video editing, because it's clear that like the YouTube channel, it's as long as Halo keeps being Halo, I'm not going to be able to pay the bills. So taking my opportunities where I can, and I'm trying to get now into just like freelance video editing, because hey, I really like freelance video editing, and since I won't be kind of like crunching with YouTube trying to kind of force out Halo content, I have a little bit more flexibility to make the kind of videos that interest me, like allowing YouTube to just become kind of like this passion project and not my livelihood, which is nice. Ticket payment for exclusive Mr. LNG stream. Mr. Nowhere, it's you again, dude. Dude, I appreciate that. The $50, I appreciate that. You're always coming in here with that. And, yeah. Dude, that's really kind of you. That's really kind of you to do. How are you doing, Mr. Nowhere? Hope you're staying good amongst all the pretty not fantastic Halo news that's been coming out of 343 lately. Damn it. Okay. Greetings from Peru. I love bees and you. I love bees too. So I appreciate that. I know already, but I'm holding out hope for MCC support. When are we getting that Sonic video, brother? Oh, the Sonic video. Sonic video, I'll let you know. I'm not going to promise anything. Have a job interview on Wednesday. Hope it goes well. But as for the Sonic video, here's something to pitch. Should it be a Sonic video about Sonic Frontiers, or should it be about the Sonic series in general? Because I got a lot of opinions about the Sonic series. Wait, I just joined it. I'm going to say that, in my opinion, we could just save Halo as a brand, not talking about the games, if it's an anime, kind of like Cyberpunk Edge Runners, to that effect. Yeah, I think... Well, here's the problem already, is 343, they're locked into this bad decision, which is Paramount Plus's Halo show. So as far as Halo multimedia projects are concerned, they probably have to shut down everything that they've been working on and reevaluate the franchise. And even then, we probably wouldn't see any major changes for years to come, just based on like how it all works. And I do agree, by the way. I think what would benefit Halo quite a bit right now is getting away from like the live action Halo show, because that put a bad taste in everybody's mouth, and instead using that time and energy into telling vignette stories throughout the Halo series. I think Halo needs a break from the Master Chief for a little bit, and not the Master Chief as a character, like no more games with Master Chief, more like this main story, this melodramatic it never ends story with Master Chief being sad and Cortana being sad and everybody's sad. And there's like a villain of the week that is an ancient Forerunner thing. They got to get away from that melodrama for a little bit, and they got to start telling stories that are set within the Halo universe, kind of like Halo Legends. Whether that's through vignettes or just telling like a different time period in Master Chief's life, I think that it's they gotta kind of like solidify and build up the Halo universe, because they haven't. They've been kind of like narrowly focused on the Master Chief, Cortana, and sadness. Oh, and then of course a Forerunner villain of the week or Forerunner plot thing that's happening. Definitely the Sonic series, brother. Doc Poyo. Here, just checking out some of the other things. Sorry if I seem rusty. Actually, it's been a hot minute, you know. You should do a showcase video like that Metro Exodus video when it came out. Show parts of the game that go underappreciated. That's definitely an idea. I rewatched Legends recently. Hot take. It was mid. Okay. Yeah, I can... all of it or only some of it? Because I could agree that some of it was... Maybe they could have used a little bit more time. Like, I think the Forerunner part where they were talking about the Flood Forerunner War, it was like a series of still images with no shadows, and every once in a while something in the image will move. Like, it's very clear that they didn't have a lot of time to actually animate those parts. Come on. Come on. Where are you? Come on. Damn it. Okay. No, Halo does not need a battle royale. I don't know. No, okay, listen. I'm not like a crazy battle royale nut. You know, I would not go out of my way to play battle royale unless it was with somebody like Rebecca. But I do wonder if a battle royale would be exactly what Halo needs right now. So keep in mind, everything I'm going to say, in my opinion, what would jazz me up, get me super hyped, is a traditional style Halo game with all the bells and whistles, firefight, custom games working, campaign, and multiplayer theater and all that. That's what I want. That's what would make me happy. But what would probably do really well right now is something that is heavily online focused, heavily multiplayer focused, and probably not the standard 4v4 stuff, because the unfortunate reality, I think, is that 343, they gambled big on this, like, return to form Halo thing. Like, the, guys, Halo Infinite, like, Halo's back. We did it this time. And they did not deliver. You know, they did not deliver. They failed to deliver. So the next Halo project, what are they going to do? Are they going to say, guys, Halo's back again, but this time for real, we finished the game? Like, no, they can't do that. Like, unfortunately, they've played that return to form card. It's been used up. They can't do that again. So whatever the next game's going to be, it's going to have to be something really different, and it's going to have to be something that's going to surprise other people as well as Halo fans. Like, nobody's going to be familiar with what this next thing is. So everybody's going to want to try it out of curiosity. And I think that might be some kind of battle royale / massively multiplayer project. Halo needs Halo 5's Warzone to return for Tatanka. It does need some kind of big, large-scale mode of some kind. They, for some reason, 343 thought that Big Team Battle was going to be the big selling point. Big Team Battle was an alternative to 4v4. It wasn't the... What frustrates me a lot about 343 is they seem to compartmentalize all the different aspects of Halo. So it's like you have campaign, arena, which is 4v4 stuff, and then the big mode, which is either Big Team Battle or Warzone. Because in Halo 5, Big Team Battle was an afterthought. I don't count it there. And it's very annoying because that's not really what Halo has ever been. Like, Big Team Battle it's matchmaking. It's not arena versus 12v12. It's just matchmaking. Halo's never segmented all of that. You know? So it's very annoying to see them kind of like treat things like Big Team Battle as if they need to be isolated and segmented away from the core Halo experience. And, you know, as for some kind of big mode, they do need to make room now for something that is kind of segmented from the main experience, like a Warzone type mode. Because Big Team Battle is not that big third pillar of Halo gameplay, you know? It's just another way to play Halo matchmaking. Damn it. Okay. Hopefully that made sense. Cortana simplifies the Human Covenant War to the point that it's not accurate, LOL. But I like it. It comes off as inspirational and gets me hyped. Well, as far as, like, the lore was concerned by that point, that is kind of what happened, you know? Like, that Halo Legends was done before the Forerunner trilogy of books. And as far as the main Halo games were presenting things, that's what it was. This flood outbreak came out of nowhere. The Forerunners responded to it with the Halo rings and did their best. You know, it wasn't until the Greg Bear novels when you got, you know, like, the political controversies between the Builders and the Warrior Servants and the Life Shapers and Faber's Ring project that some oppose. Like, as far as the Bungie games were concerned, it seemed like all Forerunners were on the same page that the Halo rings were the best bet to stop the flood. I forgot how big the map pickups are in Combat Evolved multiplayer. Oh yeah, right? Well, it's not just the map pickups, it's... Have you actually stopped and looked at objects in Combat Evolved? They're like... Here, let's go over... Look how gigantic that grenade is. It's bigger than my Spartan's fist. Look at the frag grenades. Look how big they are. Same with, like, let's pick up the... Did you see the assault rifle for a second? It's huge for some reason when you drop it on the ground. And same as for everything. I'm not quite sure why it is that way in Combat Evolved. Whether it's a gameplay thing or kind of like a remnant of when this game was pitched as an RTS. But everything on the ground is supersized in Combat Evolved. Yeah, look at the Magnum. The Magnum's, like, larger than a Spartan's shoe. It's huge. I'm just hiding here, don't mind me. There's chaos happening above. Oh no. They got me, fellas. Do you think Halo's next mainline game should be more simplified and sort of go back to basics in terms of sandbox level design and physics instead of pushing for another open world? If I were to be in charge of the Halo franchise, which there are probably some people that are very thankful that I'm not, it would have been a back to basics thing. We're getting rid of, like, all the enhanced mobility stuff. We're focusing extremely on simulational things. Like, basically, most of the major innovations are going to come from external factors. How the AI behave, how the player can interact with environmental objects, and how the environment reacts to, like, the players and stuff like that. It would have been a heavily sandbox-driven experience. And probably would have been a lot more classic in terms of gameplay and more level-based. Yeah, I wouldn't have done the open world thing. Hopefully somebody doesn't come out of nowhere. Oh, God. Yep. Well, a couple people came out of nowhere. What weapon would you want to see return? For me, the shotgun, the shell-loading shotgun without missing a beat, especially with Infection on the way. I don't know if you guys have seen the leaks. The Bulldog is not going to cut it for Infection. The Bulldog is a fine halfway point between like a more casual weapon and the shotgun, but as a backbone for the infection game type, I don't think the Bulldog cuts it, just because the manual reloading of the shotgun is so important to the combat flow of infection that if you just replace it with a gun where you just clip in, clip out, it's good to go. It's not going to provide the same experience for infection. And I'm a diehard infection fan. That's why I'm so passionate about this. Damn it. Combat Evolved still blows me away. In some ways, it actually feels more advanced than Halo Infinite. Well, I think maybe not more advanced technically, but I think more straightforward, I guess is the best way to put it. Like, modern Halo... Part of what made Halo so accessible, I think, is that Halo was very simple from the outset. Like, as far as your movement abilities, it was just like you could move around, jump, reload, melee, throw grenades, and fire your weapon. Oh, as well as switch weapons. Like, it's pretty simple, the core gameplay of Halo. There weren't, like, all these extra bells and whistles to it. And the actual, like, kill time was long enough that it gave you a lot of time to kind of like acclimate to your combat situations because you were sustaining damage from your shields. Weapons weren't ranged enough to where people were like cross-mapping each other constantly unless they went out of their way to find a sniper rifle or a ranged weapon. And so it gave Halo this very simple, accessible thing where just 2 minutes and you got the basics on how Halo would flow. And as Halo has kind of like evolved and changed, more mechanics have been piled on top of that core gameplay. Like, now you've got clamber, now you've got sprint, now you've got aiming down the sight, sliding, you've got these grappling hook mechanics and players are flying around. And it's now like the weapons, they're also like attached to these wall things that have their own cooldown timers. You need to pay attention and also fight other players for the weapons because they can see how they spawn. It's just, Halo's gotten so convoluted, I think, that now it's ironically a little bit less accessible than older titles, if that makes sense. Halo Infinite is certainly more accessible, I think, than Halo 5. I think Halo 5 was probably Halo at its most inaccessible because it was just too much. If you wanted to keep up with other players, you had to borderline understand fighting game button combos just to move across the map, you know? You had to be thrust, boost, dodge, slide, clamber, air, wall mounting, like all these crazy abilities. Because if you don't, you get left in the dust because all the other players are way better than you at that stuff. So Halo Infinite, I appreciate that it's more accessible than Halo 5, but it's just, I feel like even now, there's still more simplifying that could be done. Let me pull up. Honestly, I shouldn't have been surprised to learn that you like Sonic. Halo is basically the Sonic of FPSs in terms of messy track records for release. It is, isn't it? Yeah, Halo changes every single release, and it's usually very controversial, and it's not until the next Halo game comes out when people are like, you know what? I don't think that was that bad, actually. In fact, dare I say it was underrated. Except I'm in the camp that certain Sonic games have always been good. People were just wrong, like Sonic Unleashed. That game was just always good. It was the reviewers that are wrong. You can superimpose that Simpsons meme. Man, I miss Halo 5. I just want the multiplayer and custom games to be ported to the MCC. Oh, for Halo 5? There's got to be some way to preserve Halo 5 going forward. Because it's pretty weird on the Xbox Series consoles. There's lots of like weird disconnect issues. Halo 5's always been like a pretty buggy game. It was probably 343's most buggy game until Halo Infinite. But the bugs and the problems with that game, they've gotten worse on the new consoles. There's like, I get that Halo 5 is the black sheep of the franchise, but there's got to be a way to preserve it for future generations. They can't just like pretend that Halo 5 never happened. Where the hell is he? Oh, he's above me, isn't he? Or no, he's probably just outside. Uh-oh. Damn it. Got it. You think of Sonic 06... You think Sonic 06 is a masterpiece. I'm not going to say it's a masterpiece, okay? I will never say that. What I will say is Sonic 06 is... If you asked me to replay Sonic 06... I would do it without complaints, and unfortunately, I know that game sort of like the back of my hand. It is Sonic 06. Sonic's story gets very fun after Tails' Wave Ocean, and you unlock the half-finished gems that let you like double jump forever, speed boost around the place. That's when Sonic 06, especially if you want to get like S ranks on your times, you just equipped the red gem, and then you can slow down time, which also bizarrely affects the mission timer, so you can beat missions in like under 2 minutes while spending 6 minutes on them. Sonic 06 is freaking awesome, just because of how unfinished it is. Missed the super chat, crap. Did you see Corridor Digital's Halo trailer? I did, and it made me depressed. Made me very depressed. Dude, Halo fans, like, they know Halo's visual iconography. It seems better than Microsoft and other studios. I think, like, they approach, like, the Halo franchise, and they see, like, all this, like, science fiction stuff, and they're not quite sure how to handle it. In live action, at least. And I think a key bit of context that's missing is, like, you know, during the Bungie days, a lot of, like, the art was kind of, like, stylized. It wasn't really photorealistic ever. It was supposed to be, like, exaggerated proportions and almost anime, Eastern sci-fi style. Revenge. And instead, you've got, like, a bunch of crappy Expanse knockoffs from Western-minded developers that think, like, Halo's closest analog is, like, Mass Effect or The Expanse, you know, rather than something like Ghost in the Shell. And that's why you keep getting, like, these crappy, you know, live-action interpretations of the Halo franchise. Halo Nightfall, the Halo series. It's just, they're doing Halo incorrectly. Halo Forward Unto Dawn is, like, an enigma. I have no idea how that came out, you know, relatively unscathed. Maybe Halo Forward Unto Dawn is just kind of like proof that, like, the Halo IP can work in live action. It just needs to be done very carefully and tastefully. There's another super chat I missed. Gotcha. Honestly, no, that wasn't the one. Yesterday, I finished building the Lego UCS Millennium Falcon after a weekend. Sorry for not being on time for our Halo Wars 2 match. Stuff came up. Don't worry about it, man. Take your time. How is the Millennium Falcon? Does it look nice? How big is it? I guess is a better question. Mass Effect does have a good style, though, to be honest. It just needs to be done right. Yeah, don't get me wrong. That's not me, you know, shit-talking Mass Effect. It's more, it's like, when you think Mass Effect, you think of, like, the bureaucrats walking around the Citadel and everybody in their, you know, super smooth-looking armor with their laser guns and all the aliens all kind of, like... You know what I'm talking about. It's that style of science fiction that I think a lot of, like, filmmakers, or not filmmakers, but, like, you know, the way 343 has been handling it in the live action sector, as well as even comic books. Like, have you guys ever read Halo Escalation? It's awful. It's really bad, but it's bad in that it does feel like if you swapped out all the alien races with Mass Effect equivalents, it would feel more like a Mass Effect comic than it would a Halo comic.
5 minutes remaining.
How's Halo imploding? I just got off work. Well, they're downplaying single player content going forward. Single player will not be the focus for the Halo series for the time being. They're going to be doubling down on multiplayer stuff. And on top of that, it seems as if the franchise, for whatever their next project's going to be, because Halo Infinite isn't going to be a 10-year journey, whatever the next project's going to be, it seems to be ditching the Slipspace engine. So Halo is going to be shifting over to Unreal, which that's scary. That's very scary, and I'm worried about how Halo's going to feel on an engine that is not, you know. I read a bit. What was so bad about the comics? What was bad about the well, aside from like the pretty bad art, like it's very ugly looking. Like a lot of the characters are not very good looking. And I'm not sure if that, like, artists are good. They're really good at what they do. So I can only assume it's because they were rushed for time. Like the comic had to come out rapidly, but it was like wrapping up as much of Halo 4 stuff as well as tying into Bungie stuff as fast as it could. So things were just constantly happening. Like conversations with characters that should have taken at least a page or two were wrapped up in like 3 panels. Characters were kind of weird and out of place, like not really acting like they should be acting. It's just, it felt like a very sloppy Marvel comic. Ditching Slipspace just because Halo Infinite failed? Well, it's not just because Halo Infinite failed. This is only me speaking from, like, my own opinion, okay? So this isn't, like, any kind of, like, proof or anything. But what I could imagine are the kind of conversations that lead to Halo leaving its proprietary technology is probably the time it would take to onboard. Like, okay, 343 is sticking with contractors, okay? That's like a Microsoft thing that's not going anywhere, annoyingly. Microsoft really likes their revolving door approach to development. So it's probably a lot faster in that case to not use custom-made proprietary technology that requires like a long time to onboard someone to, and then even longer for them to become proficient in, when you could just adopt something like the Unreal Engine that most people are pretty familiar with. That way when they come into the studio for their 2-year contract, they can get to work much faster. That's what I assume is going on. Like they're looking at the production process and the pipeline and how fast content is getting made in Slipspace with their contract workers versus what if they switched over to the Unreal Engine. They could probably get stuff done a lot faster because there's less learning and onboarding. And that's annoying because I think that is a symptom of them refusing to just like bring on proper like staff that are going to be around for a while. Like they're just relying on this contract work, which gives their studio like no personality, no identity, because, you know, the people who make our Halo games are a constant revolving door. You mentioned Forward Unto Dawn as being proof that Halo live action can work, but Forward Unto Dawn was garbage. Yeah, Forward Unto Dawn is not like a masterpiece, don't get me wrong. It's kind of like, you know, it's fine. It's fine. It's not great. It's not brilliant. It's just fine. But could you imagine if the quality bar of Forward Unto Dawn with its budget, if you were to give it to like proper Halo fans and they crafted a story, kind of like what you see with the Corridor Digital stuff. You've also got that fan film Helljumpers that's on the way. Like, you know, Forward Unto Dawn proved that live-action Halo can work and not feel completely silly and ridiculous. There we go. The turnover rate at 343 was alarming. It was, man. Okay, let me actually back up. Hey, Wolfie Greymane just got a Late Night Gaming membership from Q Alter. Q Alter, that's nice of you to do that, dude. Cheers. I think a problem is that 343 wants to satisfy Halo fans, but also have to put modern elements in for marketing purposes. Though the Halo core elements should be what drags new people into Halo. That's definitely the case. Halo, as a 20-year franchise, with a very specific way that it's supposed to play, it can be pretty hard to modernize it, you know? Like franchises like Call of Duty, they have no shame, and they've had no shame for years and years, which is why Call of Duty can be completely content with, like, okay, now we're doing World War II, now we're doing future Titanfall wall running, now we're doing hyper-realistic modern combat, okay, now Godzilla is attacking an open-world battle royale map. Like, Call of Duty's had no shame, and Halo has, as weird as it sounds under 343, Halo has had a bit more class than Call of Duty. And it definitely has kind of made it very hard for Halo to stay relevant, because it is very clear that 343, they want to broaden the appeal of the Halo franchise, appeal to more people. They've done it in so many different ways. They've tried, at least, which is, you know, doing rated T for teen to make it a little bit more marketable in all regions. Trying to see if they can Trojan horse aiming down the sights and sprinting and sliding in so they can, you know, hey guys, we're just like Apex Legends and Call of Duty, come play our Halo game. With Halo 4, they tried loadouts. Halo Infinite. Well, Halo Infinite, I'm not quite sure what they were trying to do. It seems like they got caught halfway between trying to appeal to other audiences and trying to appeal to Halo fans. And they spent so much time just trying to figure out what the hell they even wanted the game to be that they, well, forgot to make the rest of the game. Yeah, and 343 isn't a sticky situation, because no matter what they do, you're going to get core Halo fans that are going to be like, just make a Halo game. And there is some truth to that. If you just make a core Halo experience with all the bells and whistles required, it would probably do well. Better, at least, than releasing a half-finished, slightly malfunctioning piece of software like Halo Infinite. But there are also probably some data that could show that if Halo were to maybe just ditch that entirely and appeal to, like, Warzone fans, the risk versus reward, it would probably be beneficial for Halo. Just unfortunately, I don't trust 343 and the current Halo brand to do something that is good, you know? So, like, I don't think Tatanka's going to be it. I don't think it's going to be the huge thing that revitalizes the franchise. I think if Tatanka was good, it would be the thing that revitalizes Halo. But I'm not expecting it to be, just because, well, it's modern Halo. I don't expect quality out of modern Halo, unfortunately. But Warzone fans are all playing Warzone. Yeah. Yeah. I think, what do you guys think of the recent, like, live service apocalypse? You had, like, back-to-back all of these major titles that were announcing the shutdown of their live service components. You had Apex Legends Mobile, the Avengers game, what was that weird, like, Epic Games Battle Royale thing that I didn't even know existed? The wrestling one. You had Battlefield Mobile. It's like everybody... Oh, and then on top of that, you also had Ghost Recon... What was it called? Breaklands? Shadowlands? Heartlands? The Division? Tom Clancy's... Apex Mobile, whatever Ubisoft was doing, they had like 7 or 8 Battle Royale games, and they shut them all down internally. Hyperscape, that's another one. It's like, I think the games industry, they maybe... Is it just me, or does it seem like releasing a lukewarm to mediocre box experience, that is a safer bet than putting all your chips into the live service basket, because it seems like just a mediocre boxed game, that is enough to keep the studio afloat more than a failed battle royale game, which almost becomes like a money pit, where it's just you're burning money into a failed battle royale game. Yeah, live service stuff, I'm not glad that developers are losing their jobs over the like incompetence and delusions of their bosses. But I am very happy that there seems to be like this widespread industry message, which is Battle Royale is not, you're not owed a Battle Royale game just 'cause popular ones exist, you know? LNG, do you think if Infinite launched with a full feature set, would 343 be in the position they are now? No, of course not. No, if Halo Infinite launched feature complete, all the missing modes, they're there. They're not missing. And on top of that, you've got Firefight. You've got an awesome customization system, amazing progression system with a lot of ranks to go up, lots of challenges to chase and commendations and stuff, as well as a variety of playlists, modes, and maps. Like, no, of course, Halo would be great right now. Probably never to the same heights of like Warzone or something, or Fortnite, just because, you know, that's the nature of modern gaming. The kids, they like their high player counts, high stakes modes where you get like one chance and then you're booted to the main menu and have to try again. But if 343 launched a finished game, we probably wouldn't be in the position we're in. And it really sucks for the people who lost their jobs, because it wasn't their fault. I think that a lot of people, this is like the super weird thing about the internet, what it just does to people's brains. It's like a weird brain rot. It makes them like borderline sociopathic. They're celebrating all these people losing their jobs, like genuinely celebrating. Like, I hope you never work on a video game again. You should get a job in another industry, like serving food or something, which is just so weird and like inhuman. But people don't understand that all the people working on the video game, they're not responsible for the planning and the decision making. They received the orders to construct the game the way that the higher-ups wanted, and then they just carried out their tasks. And now their higher-ups, they get to land on a golden parachute. You know, they get to go work on Dr. Disrespect's game. They get to open up their own indie studio. And then all the people who are just the cogs in the machine doing what they're told, they get fired. They don't get a golden parachute. An idea for an MMO Halo game, something along the lines of PlanetSide 2, where numerous factions fight for territory control on a massive map, factions being the UNSC, Covenant, and the Flood. That could be pretty dope. The Flood, would it be first person or third person? .343 intentionally hired people who didn't like Halo, so how much did they want Halo to be Halo in the first place? That iconic quote, it gets taken out of context quite a bit, because the other day I was scrolling on Google, and guess what I found? A quote from the same time period where Frank O'Connor, the same guy who did the "we hired people who don't like Halo," he also said, "We hired Halo fans who had ideas on how they could improve the Halo franchise. Becoming intimately familiar with the Halo experience was a key part of the interview process." So it's like, for every time somebody dishes out but 343 hire people who hate Halo, I'll bring out that quote too. If we want to play the quote game, I have a couple quotes of my own that I found online. Like, the hashtag Fire343 crowd is always just not understanding how jobs work. Yeah, what they want is management change. Because the people who actually create the content in the game, they could do beautiful things if they were given better leadership. There was this one quote from a buddy of mine there was kind of like, he said that it seemed very frustrating that it seems like leadership at 343 would only respond to things if there was enough backlash from the community. Internally, they'd just be like, everything's fine, keep it as it is. Like, he gave the Craig demo as an example, where he was like, it wasn't until the Craig demo when finally the engineering team was allowed to talk about what they think would improve the graphics, because they had already been raising these concerns, and management was just, nope, fine, looks great on my 4K monitor. And it wasn't until the Craig demo when finally management was willing to listen to the engineers on how they could improve the game's graphics. Like, a lot of the people working on Halo Infinite, they knew. They knew that bad decisions were making, but it wasn't their job to make decisions, it was their job to make content. Double kill. All right. We wouldn't be here if Halo wasn't ruined in the first place. I don't disagree. Here, let me scroll up. I think I missed a super chat. Possibly, maybe. Oh, no, I didn't. Okay, everything's good. Bureaucracy is slower than glacial melt. Yes, exactly. Bureaucracy is how we get to the point where we're waiting a year and a half for them to add a DMR without a scope, and that's it. Let's see. Man, when I bought Halo, I was expecting single-player DLC by now. Well, I mean, that was certainly, like, the plan, you know, internally. Like, there's even systems built into Halo Infinite to support campaign DLC. But just, we saw what happened, you know, and now that's not the plan. Hey, I just tuned in. I have a question for you. I asked many other Halo YouTubers what their favorite Halo game is, but I never asked you. What's yours? That's a pretty good question. Depending... Okay, well, I guess that conversation or that question has a couple of answers. Do you mean what is the best value package as a Halo title, or what is, like, my personal favorite? Like, I don't mind returning to it that much. Because if it was best value package, like you pay $60 and you get the best value, I'd have to say Halo Reach. Because, listen, outside of, like, gripes with the armor abilities and stuff, Halo Reach, let's pretend the servers are online. Halo Reach has the most amount of content in it. It has the most amount of modes, most amount of playlist options. Still, unfortunately, the best customization in the series. A pretty addictive progression system that takes a while to complete. On top of that, it's got a wide variety of community features that have proper support. But if I had to say what my personal favorite titles are, depending on the day, Halo Combat Evolved and Halo 3 rotate in and out of this singular spot. Like, you'd have to ask, it depends on what I had for breakfast that morning, whether or not I'm in the Combat Evolved mood or the Halo 3 mood. I think in terms of, like, multiplayer, Halo 3. But if I'm in, you know, if I'm thinking about, like, I kind of want to explore that alien world, I want that Halo vibes, I'd go with Combat Evolved. You know, and even for, like, couch co-op, just like a fun turn off your brain with a bunch of buddies, it would be Combat Evolved's multiplayer. You know, like, yeah, let's do 4-player split screen with plasma pistol starts, and let's just go crazy. Remember when Big Team was broken for 2 months? That was fun, haha. Oh god, for Halo Infinite? That's right, I remember. I don't like the argument that Halo is appealing to its fans, because isn't not appealing to them what's been alienating them? I just kind of abbreviated your question, but that's what I got. I think I've seen that, like Halo keeps appealing to its fans, and I don't quite understand that. I think there's some surface level stuff where it's like 4v4 game modes without loadouts, and Master Chief looks like Master Chief again, and the art style is back, and the music. Like, that's about it. As far as the construction of the games is concerned, they haven't been appealing to Halo fans. They haven't really been appealing to anyone, because Halo Infinite is now their third game in a row where Halo fans have had to tell them what features they forgot to include and need to include for the health of the game. So it's like 343, they appeal to Halo fans with they're very like selective. It seems like, okay, the aesthetic, sure, they'll appeal to fans. The music, sure, they went back to that like Marty O'Donnell style composition. But when it comes to the actual content of the game, it's like this constant, like, you have to, like, just drag them kicking and screaming over to the social features. Like, you're telling me you forgot to add Forge again. Yeah, I'm not giving him any time to enjoy that overshield. Halo Infinite wasn't made for Reclaimer-era fans. We all know this. Well, I don't think Halo Infinite, unfortunately, was made for anyone. I think the hope was that it would appeal to most people. But the developers and the fans didn't get what they want. Which sucks a lot. They do, but that's because they want to make their own game and not a Bungie ripoff. If you're making a video game in an established franchise and that video game has the same mechanics as that video game franchise, is it a Bungie ripoff? I'd say that's just making the game in the franchise. If you want to make your own game, make an original IP. Don't work as an existing IP, you know? Like, it's very weird to fight tooth and nail to get an established IP so that you could make something different. Like, I feel like if your job is to make a Halo game, make a Halo game. You know? It's not about artistic pride, your own vision. You know, this isn't your own vision. This is Halo. It's an established IP. Build the IP that you signed up for. As kind of heartless as that sounds. And that's not saying creative liberties aren't allowed, but, like, understand the game you're getting into. This is somebody else's work that you're continuing. At this point, I would just like them to reboot the franchise. At the end of Halo 3, they butt-fumbled the story too badly, in my opinion, to really recover. Now, I don't agree with that. I think the story is definitely redeemable. I think right now emotions are very high, but at the end of the day, Halo Infinite the story's a net positive, and where it put the Halo universe is in a good place now. We're done with the Reclaimer Saga stuff. We're done with Prometheans. We're done with Forerunner, Didact, Promethean-y, like Cortana's sad, Master Chief's sad, everybody's crying, melodrama. Like, we've got a fresh start now for new adventures. And if they want to continue the Endless, they can. If they don't want to continue the Endless, that could be explored in a novel or a comic book series or a spin-off game. At the end of the day, we've got the Banished, who are very mad that Eshram was killed by the Master Chief. They've been radicalized. You got Chief, he's thankfully no longer sad. And he's got a blue lady back who can help him and assist him. The pilot is a pretty great side character. I hope he returns. The UNSC, they're still getting up on their feet after what happened at the start of Halo Infinite. Like, There's a lot of room now for the Halo story to breathe. You're not kind of like boxed in like you were at the end of Halo 5, where it's just like, this is so dumb. Where do you go from here? You know? The Endless are boring. I don't think the Endless are boring, but I think we don't know what they are. The Endless certainly aren't boring as a concept. There's a lot of interesting stuff you could do there. Just the problem is nothing's being done with them. Like, I'm sorry, that ending cutscene with Atriox, like releasing all those containment units with the Endless in them and their symbol, and it's like that deep, angry orange look. And the music playing, it's like, yeah, I want to see where this goes. This is cool. The Infinity crashing made no sense to me. It made perfect sense, man. The Infinity's understaffed. They've been on the run. Here, I think my mic's on. Let me actually mute that. There we go. Is it off? Yes, it's off now. The Infinity crashing makes perfect sense. I mean, listen, the Infinity's been on the run for like a year now. They were down to how many staff? I forgot, but they lost. Ironically, kind of like 343, they lost a lot of their staff, like maintaining that ship. It's like, listen, if you take like a boat and a bunch of people out to sea and you have to be on the run, like, if you get caught off guard, you're not going to be prepared for it. And that's kind of what the Banished did exactly. Like, that's like one of those things where it's like, people heard the quote, the Infinity is the UNSC's strongest ship, and they took that as gospel that the Infinity can never be destroyed, ever. It's just like weird. I don't know. It's like, where did they ever say that the Infinity is invincible? Do you mean plot invincibility? Hey, late night, long time no see. The same goes to you. How are you doing, man? Atriox would have been perfect as a villain in Infinite, but instead he was sidelined for Escharum. Doesn't make sense to me. I understand what they were trying to do, and unfortunately it's like a Thanos thing that's very obnoxious, where it's like you withhold, you know, and you set up for the next villain. And I think that that's pretty dumb and annoying. And I think also some of that was, if I recall right, Paul Crocker wanted to create a new character that he could have complete control over to tell a story with, as opposed to having to work within other writers' work with Atriox. And so his idea was just, how about we have Atriox go missing, and I'm going to create like this new character, the War Chief Escharum, who trained Atriox. And it's like, okay, I get it. And Escharum was an okay character. He's probably Halo's best villain outside of Atriox since the Prophets. The problem with Atriox was mostly just, I think, a symptom of like writing him like a Batman villain, as well as the limitations of the open world formula. You know, because you're writing a story in a single location that can't really change. You can't be like Combat Evolved, where you're flying across the whole ring, you know, and you're in the plateau, and now you're in the swamps. Like, it has to be within this like 5-mile radius. So unfortunately, not a lot can happen. The villain can't have too much agency. Like, he can't glass part of the ring, because that's play space for the player. So Escharum, unfortunately, could not get a lot done in the story of Halo Infinite outside of, like, you know, Batman, I have your compatriot here. I'm torturing him. Face me in battle. Oh, boy. Oh boy. Ooh, let me see. I missed some super chats. Why didn't Cortana EMP/hack the Infinity and capture it as soon as she saw it? She wanted John, right? The Guardians were too OP in my opinion. Well, true. But also remember, we literally saw what happened, which is the Infinity showed up and then immediately Atriox was there. And we also do know that the weapon was deployed and basically shut down a lot of Cortana's systems. So she more or less just had to stay where she was. She just had to stay where she was and wait for Master Chief to show up. And instead it was Atriox who beat them. Hey LNG, I thought that if they had an M rating in another year, it would have benefited drastically. Do you think Halo can work with teen rating? Of course Halo can work within the teen rating. Does it need to work within the teen rating? I don't know, because I feel like Halo, so far, it's just kind of limited Halo more than it's helped. You know, the Flood, their appearance in Halo Wars 2 was very cool, but it was very bloodless. You know, you watch those cutscenes, you never see anybody actually get hurt. You never see the skin broken or anything. You know, it's just the Flood harmlessly holding down brutes. You never get that kind of like snapped neck creatures poking out of a chest through the flesh thing that the Flood were common with. And even in gameplay, you know, the infection or the Flood combat forms and stuff, they never really lose limbs. You know, they always just die in this very sterile and safe way. And as far as 343's mainline titles are concerned, it's like, yeah, they've been pretty toothless since the M rating. You know, the brutes in Halo Infinite, they're very soft and they're not very brute-like, are they? They're very, like, polite and they take care of their prisoners. Outside of that torturer, and even that torturer felt like he was holding back, he'd just rig people up to these, like, machines that would do internal, it would just, like, electrocute you, but without burning you. You know, you'd just be like, and you'd be hooked up to this thing, and all the damage would be internal so that they didn't break the teen rating. Like, even the brutes, the sight of them capturing Marines and having, like, those spikes, but just putting their armor on them, like scarecrows. It's just like, this is so weird. I feel like brutes would put the heads of Marines on those spikes. You know, why are the brutes so, like, toothless in this game? Actually, let's do this. What's going on? Just got here. We're playing some Halo, talking about the Halo series. What about the Flood mode in Halo 2 Anniversary multiplayer? Well, the Flood mode in Halo 2 Anniversary multiplayer, it's rated M. You know, the MCC is M rated. It's not T for teen. Fernando announced he's leaving 343. I saw that. The problem is the Halo fanbase is so toxic that the franchise is stuck in limbo between people demanding pretty much just Halo 3 but new, and 343 and Microsoft wanting to appeal to new fans and make money. Yeah, Halo is kind of stuck in this weird limbo where no matter where the franchise goes, the fans are going to be pretty unhappy about it. Halo Infinite brutes are vegan. Dude, they don't even have, like, teeth. Have you ever seen, like, the brute's resting face in Halo Infinite? They're very soft looking. Like, that Craig look. Even with the facial hair. Like, they've still got that Craig look. It's just like, where's their teeth? Remember in Halo 2, they couldn't even close their mouths properly because of how sharp and jagged and crooked their teeth was? Those are carnivores, man. Why are they so polite looking and well kept in Halo Infinite? Ironically, in Halo Infinite, the one that feels the most like a brute is that little, like, tiki head. In the seasonal, like, the way he wakes up and immediately just starts screaming and yelling at everybody. Like, that's more like a brute than, like, you know, like Esheram politely and calmly pacing back and forth. Like, I don't know, that's not very brute-like. That feels more like a person than it does an alien creature filled with rage, you know? Oh boy. What the hell? Alright. We got him. Hello? Is anybody up here? No. Okay. Alright, last gifted membership for the day. This is Q Alter. Let's see who's gonna get it. Hey LNG, what do you think a spiritual successor would need to capture the spirit of Halo? In my opinion, the worst thing 343 could do right now is tell another story about the Halo IP. What they need to do is tell a story in the Halo universe that's not about Halo. Like Halo 4, 5, and Infinite are very... Halo 5 to a less extent. But Halo 4 and Halo Infinite are very meta games that are about Halo as an IP and its like popularity and its importance to pop culture. Like, what I think would really help 343 if they wanted to tell future Halo stories is stop telling stories that are meta about Halo's popularity. Just tell a story that is set in the Halo universe with characters. LNG, who's worse? Spartan 4s? Who's a worse Spartan 4? Palmer or Locke? It was Austin 8 or V2 who just got the gifted sub from Q Alter. Alright, Austin. Give it up for Austin. I say as I smack into my microphone very loudly, and then die losing my advantage position.
Lost the lead. Tied the leader.
God forbid Halo actually, gasp, change as time go on. Change is good. Evolution, though, I think that's a little bit better. Why change when you could evolve? And unfortunately, Halo's been doing a lot of changing, but I don't think it's been doing a lot of evolving. Just because it's definitely not relevant. It's definitely not sticking around. And hopefully we actually see some genuine evolution going forward. You know, to survive and stay relevant. I've played Halo 5 very recently in December, and for me the campaign felt like watching a very mid-superhero movie. Yeah, it's... Halo 5's campaign it's kind of like a mid-Marvel movie. Like, the camera work and the cutscenes, it's very, like, close-up, shaky cam and stuff. Like it's just got this, like, Marvel look to it. That doesn't help also that the music is very, like, look, guys, we're the Avengers. Halo can't evolve until we find that water stone. Yeah, that's true. That's pretty good. Rebecca and I have been playing a lot of Pokemon, so that's pretty good. In order for Halo to evolve, you need to give it the Friendship Stone and trade it with another trainer? Which Pokemon is that you have to trade it in order to get it to evolve? You need to make it hold some... Is it Slowpoke? Or Slowbro that evolves into Slowking? And you have to do it by giving him something and then trading him to another player? Hey LNG, I actually sent you a couple messages about a free service to expand your content on Twitter. Okay, I know who you are. Let me give that a look, okay? What is your favorite I would be your daddy line in Halo? Oh God. Favorite line? Off the top of my head, I'm not sure. Because sometimes it's hard to tell what is the I would be your daddy line and what is just a standard line. Give me yours. Because I assume you guys know that trivia much more deeply than I do. Scyther does that too. Give it a metal coat and trade it. Gotcha. Machoke evolves that way too. Hey, LNG, is Infinite a lost cause at this point? What is your take on it? As far as getting bigger traction within the gaming scene, yes, Halo Infinite's a lost cause. The only people left playing Halo are Halo fans, which is the same situation Halo 5 was in, the same situation Halo 4 was in. So yeah, Halo Infinite, it's never going to be the massive, like, Call of Duty rival that I think 343 were hoping it would be. And going forward, I don't think that that means development needs to stop on Halo Infinite, but what I do think it means is internally there needs to be a little bit of humility and acceptance that we lost. And what they need to start doing is looking at what Halo Infinite is currently missing and what could be added to bring it into a place where core Halo fans are happy with it. Because they're the only ones left playing the game, you know? Think about, like, things kind of like, okay, so, like, the coding system, right? In an ideal world, what I want 343 to do with the coding system going forward is color customization needs to come back. We can't wait for the developers to make the color brown so that we can wear the color brown. You know, that needs to be something players can choose themselves. Primary and secondary colors need to return as customizable options. And in order, you know, because, like, you gotta, you know, talk to the business, to the suits, you know, you gotta say something that they enjoy. If the coding system were to stay and the monetization system were to stay, they could have their cake and eat it too. Bring back color customization, primary and secondary colors, and monetize the patterns of those colors. So, like, imagine camouflage as a coding. It's whatever, $4 in the in-game shop, but you could customize the primary and secondary colors of that camouflage coating that you bought. That way it's not, like, locked to forest camo because the developers made it that way and you have no say. Like, monetize the patterns of the coatings and then let the community customize the colors of those patterns. And I feel like that's a pretty good middle ground, right? Same with, like, the core system. So, like, the cores, like, we want to do cross-core customization and stuff, and they want to probably keep adding cores and stuff. Well, what if you could eventually earn the right to start carrying things over from some cores? You know, like, maybe you rank a core up to a certain rank, and then you unlock the privilege of transferring items from core to core. It would encourage people to use that core more online, which would probably give it more exposure, tempting people to want to buy it in the in-game shop. But it would also give players, like, a grind, because they want to get the core to that certain rank so that they can begin swapping out that helmet with the helmet that they do like. And it's just like, all in all, it benefits both players and business. 343 needs to stop trying to be sweaty esports wannabes and focus on being a fun experience for both parties where the community is that helps the game thrive. Destiny's community is a good example. Well, it's funny you say that, because a big problem of 343 is, ironically, like, they don't focus a lot on esports stuff, on making their game competitive. They focus a lot on casual social accessibility things to make their game as easy to play as possible. You know, things like how hyper-aggressively lethal the multiplayer's gotten, where even social matches, you're, like, sweating your butt off. Like, it's not because the game is esports focused, it's because every gun is so damn easy to use. Like, everything from the assault rifle to the battle rifle to the sniper, it's so easy to use now. It's very easy to go on killing sprees in Halo now. Everybody can do it. And when everybody is going on killing sprees with super easy to use guns, yeah, it's going to make the game feel a lot sweatier. Like, if Halo was actually a little bit harder to play, it would ironically feel less sweaty and competitive now. That's part of why I think a discussion a lot of players don't want to hear is the assault rifle, it's got too much range. The battle rifle, it's too easy to use. Loading screen with map layers. Taras, today I purchased a tiny Soundwave. He has an equally tiny Laserbeak cassette. Do you have do with this knowledge as you wish. What Soundwave is it? Is it Generation 1 Soundwave, or is it like the movie Soundwave? I don't agree with that. If that was the case, then we wouldn't be missing party game modes like Racing Infection, fun asymmetrical maps, etc. Well, that's just a case of them not finishing their game. That has nothing to do with the gameplay philosophy, you know? Because even the esports players, they don't like the game. They don't like how piss easy a lot of the guns are to use. They don't take a lot of skill. You know, that battle rifle, it self-corrects its own recoil, and the auto-aim does most of the micro-aiming for you. The assault rifle is one of the best guns in the game, which should not be the case considering how easy it is to just center your screen and hold down the trigger. It's a War for Cybertron Kingdom core class. Oh, wait, a core class for... Oh, I thought you were saying a War for Cybertron Spartan core. I was like, okay, we're going crazy with the with the crossovers stuff. Wasn't the BR always an easy-to-use gun, though, besides Halo 3? It has always been easy to use. The saving grace for Halo 2 is at least the button combos added a layer of skill to it, because now there is a skill ceiling you can reach. Are you good at the button combos, or are you not? Because the player who knows how to BXR, they're going to beat you. But as far as Halo 4 is concerned, it's just flat. It just gets kills for you, and it's easy to use. Halo 5... is trapped in this weird middle ground. Halo Infinite, it's just easy to use and gets kills for you. Halo Sandbox could be a lot more if they stopped making everything so easy to use. What do you think of a Halo horror game? To be honest, I'm not sure if a Halo horror game would sell well, because traditionally horror games don't sell very well. It's a crime that we're not going to get an Evil Within 3, because the Evil Within 2 was fantastic. And Resident Evil, what's very unfortunate is Resident Evil, now that they're pivoting back towards the action stuff, their sales are actually increasing. Like Resident Evil Village... I do not think should have outsold Resident Evil 7. Village is a bad linear shooter in my opinion, but unfortunately that's what people are buying. They don't want to be too scared. Even Dead Space cheats a little bit because it's more of an action shooter than it is a horror shooter. Like Dead Space is more actiony than it is horror. And Resident Evil 4 recently, that's, you know, it's got horror elements, but Resident Evil 4 was an action game. Damn it. Do you think Firefight should come back? Absolutely, dude. I'd love for Firefight to come back. Especially since, like, one of the best aspects of Halo Infinite was its combat system. Like, I think what Halo really needs is it needs a way for players to kind of, like, escape from the, think of it kind of like back in the day, like the Halo, the Bungie days, where it was, like, at the end of, like, some, you know, hardcore multiplayer sessions playing with your friends after a day of work or after school or whatever. And then it's like, all right, guys, how about a game of Firefight, or... you know, in the case of Call of Duty, how about a game of zombies before we all go to bed, or, you know, whatever. Like, Halo needs that right now. It doesn't really have that, like, kind of like this low-stakes you versus predictable AI. And I think that that's a part of Halo that 343 is really neglecting, and they could probably do to tap into. I'd be curious to see some of, like, the numbers that they have on, like, Warzone Firefight and stuff. Because I'm not a fan of Warzone Firefight, but Warzone Firefight was a net positive for Halo 5, and I wouldn't be surprised if player retention for that mode and even engagement was surprisingly high. So what's going on with Halo's future now? Does Halo Infinite have much of a shelf life left? Any ideas? I assume yes, and that's more out of necessity. Like 343, they don't have the staff to make a proper AAA Halo game anymore, especially with the hiring freeze going on. So it's more like they have to maintain Halo Infinite. They have no choice. They have to double in on the live service monetization stuff. Because it's what's keeping the lights on, you know? What other projects out there are bringing in money for Halo? Halo Wars 2? No, people aren't buying Blitz packs for Halo Wars 2. MCC? No, there's no microtransactions. So it's like, unfortunately, right now, they have to work on Halo Infinite. The Bulldog is a good replacement for the Mauler, not a replacement for the M90A CAWS. Oh, just the shotgun? I don't know if it's a good replacement for the Mauler, because the Mauler, what I can give it is, it's a brute weapon, and it looks cool, and also you could dual wield it. Do you think a Halo 3 remake will ever happen? I won't say never. Halo Wars 2 Blitz packs, LMAO, that's a blast from the past. Yeah, remember when they even made that whole Blitz game mode, which just existed for the... Like, man, Halo Warzone already feels like a mode built for the monetization system. But Blitz really... I feel so bad for the developers that worked on the Blitz mode, because they must have also known that this was going to be dead on arrival, because it was just made to sell loot boxes. Yeah, Hidden Experience here, which is nice. You know what's funny? Fallout 76 says something like Spartan Ops. Well, Halo never brought Spartan Ops back. Yeah, everybody, even good old Bethesda, are quicker at the content upkeep than 343 is. But hey, something to think about is maybe now that 343 is a smaller studio, maybe things will actually speed up and improve. Because you'll have less cooks in the kitchen. I don't know, it's just a thought. Evening, friendos. This is Hidden Xperia. I disagree. 343 burnt so many bridges with Infinite. Why keep trying? You can attempt to revive a corpse, but at the end of the day, it's still a corpse. I agree, but when you literally don't have the resources to make a new thing, it's just the corpse. That's all you've got to work with right now, is unfortunately the corpse. And that's really where Halo is at this point. They're just going to keep tinkering away at Halo Infinite until finally that Tatanka thing comes out. And if Tatanka folds and it's not successful, which I don't think it's going to be the biggest thing in the world, I think Tatanka will be fine. But like Halo Infinite, the only people left playing will just be core Halo fans. I really think 343 ought to invest in something like Destiny. And not Destiny as in they need to make a loot-driven RPG, but they need to it can't be all high-stakes multiplayer stuff. They need to combine like their PvP and PvE experiences. Like, it can have Battle Royale components, but it also has to have replayable PvE content that players would keep coming back to. Like, they gotta do something like Destiny. Because if they put all their chips in this Battle Royale basket, I don't think it's going to take off the way that they're hoping. And I definitely don't trust modern 343 to be able to... Well, I guess 343 ever to be able to, you know, come out with a banger smash hit. Because really, they usually overpromise, underdeliver, and then all that's left playing their game is core Halo fans. Oh boy. The fact that PvE and story is neglected in Halo is laughable, to be honest. No wonder the games don't do well anymore. That is crazy, right? The Jason Schreier article where they weren't even working on DLC content, they were pitching games in the Unreal Engine, like future titles and stuff. It's just like, what were you guys doing, man? What's been going on the last year? And now Joe Staten's gone, and the campaign team's been sacked, so it's like, what's left? Tatanka is not a BR. I say Tatanka is a BR as like a, that's the best analog to describe it. Tatanka, it is, if it wasn't for Fortnite, Tatanka would not exist. That's the best way I can describe it. It is chasing the BR crowd. And I don't think it's going to succeed in acquiring them, unfortunately. The issue is a majority of Halo players play Halo for the campaign, they beat it, then they move on. All my friends did exactly that. I don't know if I'd agree. You'd probably be surprised with the amount of people that buy Halo for the multiplayer, not the campaign. It's like Call of Duty, where it's like obviously campaign has people who play it, but most people are there for the multiplayer hook. That's probably even why they decided to make the campaign a premium experience where you pay for the campaign, but the multiplayer is just free, because they knew most people were just into the multiplayer. But then that kind of almost backfired on them, because like, congratulations, you guys hooked up the future of your studio to microtransactions, because once people buy the campaign, that's it. They're not going to be, spending more in the campaign. Most of the money is going to come from multiplayer services and stuff. And then, cut to a year or so later, well, it looks like the data shows that most of the money coming into the studio comes from microtransactions. All right, cut the campaign team. We're not doing campaign stuff anymore. Halo Infinite's just such a... Man, once those NDAs expire and developers come out about the experience of creating Halo Infinite, it's going to be a wild, wild couple of months. DMZ isn't a big hit because COD's PvE sucks. Halo's doesn't. It might work out. It's true. I think Halo could do with an extraction shooter. But DMZ's doing okay, isn't it? I thought DMZ is fairly popular. Maybe not as popular as Warzone. I at least really like the DMZ. And I agree, the combat's not good. Because the AI, they feel like mechanical robots more than they do like real living people. Do you think the multiplayer is more important than the campaign, or are they equal? The multiplayer honestly might be more important than the campaign, but that's not to neglect the campaign. It's just that when it comes to what would make a successful Halo title, a lot of effort needs to be put into making sure that multiplayer is firing on all cylinders. Because if it's just the campaign, as Halo Infinite showed us, then it's like, that's going to be the death nail for a Halo title. You play the campaign, and then you stay for the multiplayer experience. Marka Words is, I need a weapon. If a new company took over and started making Halo games, they can't say all of 343 games never happened. That would make them worse than 343. Well, I don't think it would be a sin to do that. It wouldn't be like, you're morally worse than them for retconning fictional game lore. Like, that's a little bit silly. But I do agree, like, just retconning Halo at this point. Like, Halo's gotten needlessly convoluted, but retconning Halo at this point, it's just like, dude, just stop advancing the story forward and start expanding it sideways. Start telling side stories in the Halo universe and expanding the universe, Maybe stop the villain of the week stuff where the Forerunners have done a thing, and now it threatens the galaxy again for the 5th time this month. The Endless, the Domain, the Harbinger, the Didact, Cortana, Guardian. Like, slow down a little bit and let's start. What did the Banished do on this moon in deep space that had a UNSC colony? What stories can we tell on that moon, you know? It doesn't need to be high-stakes Forerunner stuff all the time, I guess is what I'm saying. LNG, some fans are making an ODST fan film. I saw the trailer yesterday and it was amazing. Did you hear about it? I think there's a couple of ODST fan films. One of them is Halo Cold Storage, but the other is Halo Helljumpers. And I saw the Cold Storage trailer and it looked freaking awesome. It looked so cool, man. Will we ever get a Halo Wars 3 or at least a book like Halo 6? Or will it be a book like Halo 6? I doubt we're going to see Halo Wars is... Yeah, we're not going to see a Halo Wars 3. New studio founded by Joe Staten, Jason Jones, Marty, and OG Halo devs, making a new Halo game. Thoughts? So much hype would be generated. Yeah, but you'd have to gather them all into a room and get them to agree to make a Halo game. I think Marty O'Donnell's working on 6 Days in Fallujah with his own studio, Highwire Games. Joe Staten's working at Xbox Publishing. Where's Jason Jones? Is he still at Bungie, or is he working on something else now? Can you imagine the situation if Halo Infinite was released in 2020 instead of 2021? Dude, Halo would be in a bad place if it released a couple months after that Craig demo. They barely had a functioning game. That's why they needed an extra year. I've always believed Halo should have made more spin-off games like Halo Wars, or if you could count Halo Reach and ODST. Yeah, I agree. I think telling spin-off stories outside of the main story would be the best bet going forward. Just, you know, give the advancement of the main galactic plot a little bit of breathing room. I believe Jones is retired. Oh, that's a bummer. What do you think about 343 cutting off all updates to the MCC? Really disappointing. Really disappointing, and I wish they'd reconsider that. Because I think MCC, well, it depends on like what the next update's going to bring. MCC still needs a lot of work. But I guess it's like if you're like a, you know, the upcoming recession, and you're looking at your studio and how much is being spent, and you're like, this MCC product, we're pumping out so many updates for it, and it's getting nothing in return because people already bought the product. We're going to wind down support for it and focus on stuff like Halo Infinite that does have microtransactions. I don't know. In my opinion, it's probably not smart to tie your studio's health and well-being intrinsically to microtransactions that require and assume that there will be a large player base everlasting. You know, that's just me, but I feel like that's not a very forward-thinking approach, because you're not guaranteed a player base.
Tied the leader. Lost the lead.
Oh yeah. Best idea, a Halo Spartan Strike sequel. Man, y'all gotta stop making fun. Well, I agree Spartan Strike wasn't that good. But you guys gotta stop making fun of Halo Spartan Assault. That game was fine, man. It was honest. It was just a little mobile twin-stick shooter. And you know what? It was a pretty damn good one. I need you to settle a debate in my head. Should developers put subtitles in video or audio settings? Audio. Because subtitles are audio focused, you know? They are, for accessibility purposes, if you wanted to be able to display sound, it's sound-based. So you'd locate it in sound stuff. That's where I'd put subtitles. Video would be for the clarity of the visual image and stuff. So like your gamma settings, your contrast settings, frame rate, motion blur, graphical effects. That would be in video because that's the visual experience. Subtitles, yes, you visually read them, but they are communicating the audio experience in a visual format. So I'd put them in audio. The OST for Spartan Assault's pretty good. Dude, the OST for Spartan Assault's excellent. Tom Salta killed it. Man, Halo fans don't know how hard Tom Salta worked with the Spartan Assault soundtrack. The story he told me was he was asked to do like, I think it was 45 minutes of music, which is already high for a mobile game, but he was asked to do about 45 minutes, and he came to them with over an hour of music. Like, some stuff wasn't even requested, he just did it, because he was so enthusiastic about making a Halo soundtrack. And the main theme, Legacy, was his personal love letter to the Halo musical soundscape. So it's got everything. It's got choirs. It's got electronic-y synths. It's even got piano in it. It's like all of his favorite parts of Halo's musical soundscape. Like, that dude poured his heart and soul into the Spartan Assault soundtrack. The guy who led BTB for Infinite Left 343. Yup, I saw that. LNG, at what point did you lose your hope on modern Halo? I don't know, because I feel like my hope has always been around, even up to Halo Infinite. I think maybe with Halo Infinite, with them not launching with Infection, not launching with Forge, Firefight, and stuff, that's when I started to lose hope. Because it's like, these are lessons that should have been learned from Halo 5's launch, and they were not learned. I don't know, man. The turn-based tactics market is pretty wide open. They could do justice replicating the XCOM. Dude, an XCOM ODST game would be so awesome. Set during the Human Covenant War. I love that. I love that idea. Spartan Assault was fine, not worth $15. Was it $15? Or is that $15 on the Xbox store? I would agree 15 is a little bit much. Probably $7. You know what blows my mind? Halo 4 was the last Halo game to have a proper ending. That's true, isn't that? Halo 4 didn't end with like a crazy cliffhanger. Yeah, you're right. Huh. Okay. 343 put too much importance on expanded universe media rather than games. Books are cool, but the major story needs to be in the games. Hence the reason 5 was very weird. Well, it's even weirder is Halo 5, there wasn't like... The only one that I can think of that really relied on expanded lore, here I finally decided which way I'm going to comb my hair right now. Halo 4 was the only one that really heavily relied on the expanded lore, because you kind of needed it to even understand what the hell the Didact was, you know? Because he wakes up and is immediately like, "So fades the great harvest of my betrayal, the librarian left little to chance." And you're just like, what's happening? Halo 5, you didn't really need to know the books, because Halo 5, like, the books wouldn't have prepared you for Halo 5. Halo 5 was stupid and took everybody by surprise, even book fans. What are the Guardians? Nobody knows, because the books wouldn't have told you. The only thing I can think of that probably would have guided people a bit was the domain. And what the hell is the domain? Well, the game's not going to explain it. You've got to kind of like read the books to fully understand it. Come on. Come on. Okay. Like the Warden Eternal, are they ever going to explain what the Warden Eternal is or was? No, they're not. Halo 5's problem had nothing to do with expanded lore. It retconned it and ruined everything. Yeah, Halo 5's problem was that it was a bad story. It was destructive to the Halo IP, I'd argue. Because, dude, what a weird couple of years it was after Halo 5. Where Halo 5 comes out, Cortana is evil and has taken over the galaxy with giant space owls and is threatening to drive people into extinction. And then you go to, like, Best Buy and there's like a coffee cup with like Chief and Cortana like cute chibi stuff, and it's just like do they know what happened in the games? Like, Cortana's evil now. It's like, imagine if Mario made Luigi, like they got rid of Bowser and now Luigi was the main villain of the Mario series, and then they started to sell, you know, the same like like the same like toys of Luigi and Mario together. God, that was so dumb, making Cortana evil. That was like franchise destroying, I think. And Halo Infinite had to do a lot of heavy lifting to kind of like undo some of the damage done. Like, only now is Chief and the Blue Lady are partners once again. And Halo can kind of start moving forward without having to deal with the awkward reality that one of the heroes is Space Hitler. Well, wasn't there Mr. L from Paper Mario? Mr. L did exist, but Mr. L was not a replacement and now the new villain of the series, you know? And Mr. L is hilarious. Evil Space Cortana is not. It's stupid. Warden Eternal is in story jail. Well, Warden Eternal being in story jail implies that Warden Eternal will ever come back, which he won't. Incredible Luigi impression. I'm glad you thought so. I love Luigi. I just assumed the Warden Eternal was a funny robot. Well, what's he a warden of? And more or less an eternal one. The Warden Eternal just seemed like a character design that got too far in development, and now he's part of the game. LNG, can you fill me in on Halo imploding? I think I missed something. So Halo currently, the entire campaign team was laid off. 343 does not have the staff and resources to make a new AAA title because of their hiring freeze and the upcoming recession. Microsoft's going to be very tight with, you know, how they spend on game production going forward. So 343 have crunched the numbers, their new studio head, and it's been decided that going forward, Halo needs to focus on monetization and microtransaction type stuff, multiplayer content. So we're probably not going to get a lot of story content outside of multiplayer live servicey stuff. They lost more people. Oh yeah, they're still bleeding people. It's the layoffs that happened, they're not the end of it. There's still going to be people leaving 343 or losing their jobs. Unfortunately, as 343 kind of reorganizes, reshifts, downscales. I don't know, man. The future of Halo is weird and murky right now. Any book characters that you think would make sense to introduce into the next game or DLC, or would you rather characters like Palmer and Lasky return first? Definitely Lasky. Definitely Lasky. I think Lasky needs to come back a little bit, just as like a face of the UNSC, you know? Like, Ron Perlman, unfortunately, is too expensive to hire. I don't think we'll ever see Lord Hood again. But Lasky is the next best thing as the Lord Hood replacement. And I think it would benefit to get Lasky back. Damn it. Will Halo ever be like Halo 3? No. No. Unfortunately not. I think the Halo has the potential to be like Halo 3 again, but it's gonna require something that Halo fans probably wouldn't like, which is getting away from the traditional Halo formula and, like, turning Halo into a different kind of video game. In the same way, like, even Call of Duty had to do that, you know? Like, Call of Duty wasn't doing too hot for a little while now. Like, everybody was playing Fortnite, Apex Legends, not Apex Legends, Fortnite, PUBG, and stuff like that. And Call of Duty, Black Ops 4, people were more excited about the Battle Royale mode in that than they were, like, Black Ops 4's core multiplayer. And even, you know, the current Warzone era, more people are playing the Warzone component of modern COD than they are the actual team deathmatchy type stuff. Like, Call of Duty kind of saw the writing on the wall and mutated its core formula so that it could stay relevant. And I think Halo, unfortunately, will need to do that as well. As much as I'd love it, like a game built just like Halo 3, you know, with Firefight included, as much as I'd personally like that, I don't know if that's enough anymore to be hyper successful. It would make me happy, but I don't know if it would interest everybody. Black Ops 4 was anything but traditional Call of Duty. You're right, but hopefully you understand what I mean when I say that. What I mean is like here we go, we create our class, what do we want to play? I guess I'll play Team Deathmatch. Oh, we're loading into the map and we're spawning on opposite ends of these 3-lane maps. Here we go, I'm calling in my kill streaks. Like, you know, the traditional Call of Duty formula. You get 75 kills and then who won? Who got kill of the game? People still play Call of Duty? Yes, they do. In fact, Call of Duty is one of the most popular games on the planet right now. LNG, could Halo 4 be considered an epilogue for the original trilogy story, considering that we finally meet the Forerunners in person, Cortana dies, and the Covenant is a shadow of its former self, etc.? It's not really an epilogue. It's more like the start of a new story that never happened. 343 originally wanted it to be a trilogy, then Microsoft stepped in and was like, no, it's a saga. And they only got up to Halo 5, and then they were like, okay, we're done with this Reclaimer saga stuff. We're going to reboot Halo. And now here we are. Black Ops 4 had such problems. Hero shooter turned back into normal COD or as close as they could get it. Yeah, dude, Black Ops 4, that's a mess. And what kind of sucks is it seems like it was more successful as a mess than Halo Infinite was, because at least Black Ops 4 survived its life cycle. Destiny 2 started bad but got good. My issue is what does 343 have for live service development that Bungie has? I'd hope 343 makes something new, then work on something that is flawed. Yeah, 343 they don't have the know-how to make a live service game. They don't have the know-how to keep up with a live service game. And Bungie does. I'd trust Bungie more with like live service content than I would 343 at this point. And Bungie, they struggled with their live service stuff. It's only now that they're starting to really get into the swing of things. And ironically, their live service stuff is part of why I've kind of stopped playing Destiny. I kind of miss when Destiny, it was broken up by its expansions. It was like, here's an expansion that totally changes up the game for like the next year. And then you get a couple smaller expansions. Like, it helped me pace and time out my enjoyment better than, like, every couple of months it's a radically different game.
Territory captured. Territory under attack.
You know, I look at Lightfall, and it's like, dude, I'm so far behind in Destiny already. I don't know if I'm going to get Lightfall. Like, it just looks like so much. Like, the game is just never stable. It never has a solid identity. It's always changing. Which I'm sure, like, the hardcore Destiny fans really like that. But at least for me, where I only have so much time, I can't keep up with it anymore, man.
Territory under attack.
That's not the main problem. Halo Infinite is fundamentally flawed. There's nothing to build off of. Yeah, Halo Infinite, it's not that Halo Infinite is a solid foundation that's missing pieces. It's that there's no foundation. Like, you need to build the foundation. Like, we only just got Forge, but where's Infection? Where's the progression system, you know? Destiny 2 is a massive time commitment. Yeah. You can't even come back to content. It's just gone. Yeah, I kind of just, I don't know, man. I wish Bungie would... This is going to sound weird. I miss the Activision days of Destiny. Not Destiny 2, but Destiny 1. Like, it was paced better. I could keep up with it a little bit better, and the content felt a little bit more, like, digestible. Like, the crafting system, dude, I don't have time to sink into the crafting system. That's too much. That's too much right now. Like, I'm already so far behind in other areas of Destiny that, like, learning the crafting system, it's a little bit too much for me right now.
Territory contested. Territory lost. Territory captured.
POV, it's 2010, Halo Reach just dropped and life was good. Man, you guys want to hear a nostalgic story about Halo Reach? So, I did not have Halo Reach when it first came out. I was wanting Halo Reach for a very long time. Everybody was talking about it being the final game in the Halo series, because Bungie was going to be moving on. So it was like, oh my god, the final game. Up to that point, the most current shooter was Halo 3. Even with ODST, that game was made in the Halo 3 engine, so that level of visual fidelity, Halo was Halo 3 visually. And I remember when I got my Game Informer magazine that had the story about what Halo Reach was, and I was blown away by the graphics, like how much better the Spartans looked, how much more detailed they looked. Even, I remember being really fixated on the new shield visual effects when the Spartans sustained damage. Like, it looked really cool in the Game Informer magazine. And I remember looking at the characters and looking at the weapons, and it was just like, this is crazy. Halo Reach looks so good. What I was most excited about was Forge, because I spent a summer, I borrowed my buddy's Halo 3 Mythic disc that had the DLC, because I didn't have Xbox Live. So Forge was mostly where I spent my Halo 3 days. It was playing campaign, playing Forge, inviting buddies over, and then playing Halo custom games on my Forge maps. So Forge, by this point I had Xbox Live, but I was in for Forge mode. I couldn't wait to see what they were going to do next. And there were all, you know, the schoolyard rumblings about Forge World and, like, how crazy it was. Open world Forge. And I remember finally my buddy was able to get Halo Reach before us. And we we got off at the same bus stop, and we stopped by his house, I think, for something. And his older brother had skipped school and was playing Halo Reach. And I remember he was holding the needler. And up to this point, it was the Halo 3 style needler. You know, so you got those cartoony looking crystal shards. Like if you think of like crystals in a cartoon, you know, the long blocky type, like that's what the needler looked like. So seeing the shards like really crystalline and looking really kind of like brittle and messed up and very like, it was, I had never seen the needler with such definition to it. It was so cool seeing a needler that high res. And of course I wanted it. I wanted the game really, really badly. And finally, one of my friends, Daniel, who lived up the street, his mom was picking up the game for him after school. So we came home, I went to his house, and first thing we did was load into Forge World. And I remember the camera controls were different because in Halo 3, it was like the object would float with wherever you were looking. And then in Halo Reach, they changed it to where your monitor will like rotate around the object. And once I figured out the controls, I just barely managed to get a turret and some sandbag placement down. And then I had to go home. But dude, Halo Reach was magical, the launch for that game.
Capture and control territories for points.
It kind of sucks that we, you know, Halo hasn't really had an experience like that. Like just feeling overwhelmed when you load up the game because you don't even know where you want to start because there's so much content. Now you're lucky if the Halo game even releases with a progression system. Oh boy.
Territory under attack. Territory lost.
The good old days of completed games. Yeah, right? It's unfortunately the live service nature of a lot of games. It has, you know, the assumption that like we can just add that after launch. Like you don't need to impress people because you can just patch it in later. And well, now maybe with Halo, like enough is enough, and now hopefully the studio understands that like they need to put in a bit more work than other game development studios now. Like they need to actually like bring their A game this time and launch feature complete Halo titles. Did you play the Dead Space remake yet? I haven't, unfortunately. Money's been a bit tight this month. And I don't even think my computer could run it with all the bells and whistles currently because I'm still rocking a GTX 1080 Ti, so I'd have to get it on the Xbox. And like I said, money's a bit tight, so unfortunately I'm missing out on it for now, which sucks because I really wanted it. That and the Callisto Protocol, but it seems like in the case of the Callisto Protocol, I might have been spared, actually.
Under attack. Territory lost.
Oh boy. It's so weird that these SMGs, the fire rate slows when you dual wield them. Oh yeah. Oh no. Please stay alive. Oh yeah. Okay, got the grenade kill. Good.
Territory under attack.
We're holding our positions. Hale and G, have you ever played Deep Rock Galactic? I have. My brother was obsessed with that game for like a hot minute. Deep Rock Galactic is pretty freaking awesome. If I had unlimited time to sink into all the various games that interest me, Deep Rock Galactic would be one of those games. Callisto Protocol wasn't that bad. Yeah, Callisto Protocol wasn't that bad. From what I've seen. It just, you know.
Territory lost.
Do you like rhythm games? Have you seen the gameplay from Hi-Fi Rush? I actually played the intro of Hi-Fi Rush. It's pretty cool. I don't know if I'm interested in completing the game. but I really appreciate what it does, and I hope that it's successful because I'd like Microsoft to make more creative games like that. It seems like Hi-Fi Rush, that experiment, is paying off, which is nice. I like the art style for Hi-Fi Rush. And not just the art style, the presentation of it. Like, it's really cool that, like, the background elements are also in sync with the music.
Territory captured.
I might return to Hi-Fi Rush, to be honest.
Territory lost.
You know, if I ever get that, like, I need a character action game like Devil May Cry, but I don't want to play Devil May Cry 5 because I played too much of that game already. I might give Hi-Fi Rush a go.
Territory under attack. Killing spree. Territory lost. Reverting.
Damn it. Okay.
Victory. Territory under attack.
What's weird about Halo 2 Anniversary is the hand models. They look so unpolished compared to the rest of the game. I think it's because they're using the poly counts of the Halo 4 Spartan models, just with like a weird custom texture that doesn't fit the model quite as well as the Halo 4 hand models. Like, the texture for the Halo 4 hand models were designed to mask how low poly the hands were, where these ones, they don't do quite as good of a job. Would you consider Halo's current situation as the great schism of 343 Industries? I consider it like the great collapse and reconstruction, you know? I saw a question about Battlefield 2042. I've been playing Battlefield 2042 since like November of last year, whenever it launched, just to keep up with it, because I am a Battlefield fan. Battlefield 2042 is not great, but they've patched it into an okay game. It's gotten to the point now where you can play Battlefield 2042 and you will get an okay-ish experience. It's not as good as Battlefield 4, but I've like unlocked everything in Battlefield 4. I've like, it's like a rag that I'm squeezing out for every last drop. Like, I've finished Battlefield 4. I've played so much of it. So 2042, it's really all I got right now. And it's in an acceptable state now.
Kill the enemy team to score.
My question is, have you played since the class update? I have. And the class update is what has tipped it into Battlefield 2042 is okay now. Like, the class update added much needed structure to the game's combat flow. Like, players needed roles that they could fill. Like, that's, you know, part of the Battlefield experience. And so it's nice now that, you know, I can run around as the medic, which I really like running around as in Battlefield titles. I like reviving people. I like keeping people stocked up on health. Man, in Battlefield 5, dude, the medic class, that was my jam. I rocked all smoke grenades, and as my gadget, I had the smoke launcher. And just anytime I saw like 1,000 dots of people that needed to be revived, I'd just pop a couple of smokes, and then I'd be out there reviving up to 12 people at any given time. I was a really good medic in Battlefield 5. In Battlefield 1, weirdly enough, that's one where I actually played as a support character more than I did as a medic character. As a Battlefield fan, I'm disgusted by 2042 and I refuse to play it. I don't care what they patched in. I'm already disgusted by the specialists and I don't care to play as them. That's fair. The classes or the specialists are obnoxious. I don't like them. I don't like Angel and his stupid face. I don't like Sundance and her stupid wingsuit. I don't like any of that. I don't like McKay and his dumb grappling hook. LOL late night acting like Hacksaw Rage in Battlefield 5. Dude, I was a maniac in Battlefield 5 because in Battlefield 5 they had like the manual health system where you had to use a med kit to regenerate your health. The only class that could regenerate his health because he had unlimited med kits was the medic. And so because of that, I didn't care, man. I was great at dodging enemy fire. I'd pop a smoke and I'd be doing my slide sprinting constantly, like running under enemy fire and making sure everybody was alive. It was always a good match whenever I played as the medic in Battlefield 5. It got to the point where I had to force myself to play as other characters like the support and stuff, because it was just like all my other classes were falling to the wayside. It was just the medic I was leveling up. Everyone seems to forget Battlefield 4's release was on par with MCC's. Yeah, people say Battlefield 4 is the peak of the franchise, but I don't know if EA sees it that way, because I'd imagine Battlefield 4, a majority of that game's lifespan was a money pit of them having to sink money into these patches and new content for the community because the game launched in such an unstable state. That's probably why they don't like really look back on Battlefield 4, if you've noticed. It's like a no-brainer to Battlefield fans. Like, listen, Battlefield 4 is the way to go. But for EA, they probably think of all the money they lost on that game when it launched. Which sucks. You know what's a Battlefield game that wasn't that bad? Hardline. I'll say it, Battlefield Hardline was okay. So if they're stopping with MCC updates, that means we're 100% not going to get cross-platform co-op. Don't we already have cross-platform co-op? Correct me if I'm wrong. Is it just for Halo 3? I did love the Battlefield 5 attrition system. Running out of ammo was something that could just happen in Battlefield. I heard Tatanka is being used to start the next Halo game instead. I think that could be good if true. Well, where did you hear that, Rocket Baby? I think it depends on where you heard that. The year is 2030. Every game is free to play and has a grappling hook, right? Gosh, that's... The grappling hook trend, why is that a thing? For a hot minute, it was everybody wanted to be an enhanced mobility shooter, then everybody wanted to be an Overwatch clone, and now it's everybody wants to be either a battle royale or have a grappling hook. When you feel you comment does not matter. Did I misread that? I'm sorry. You're amazing. Just wanted to say this. No, you're amazing. Because grapple hooks are cool. Grapple hooks can be cool, but man, I'd love a game that doesn't have a grappling hook in it. Plus, grappling hooks are fun when they're used more creatively in the environment for like momentum stuff. The grappling hook of Halo Infinite, all that does is help you ignore the level design. Because you can bypass so much of it. Why follow the path up the mountain that the developer created with the clearly curated and paced combat encounters when you can just grapple hook off the beaten path and ignore most of the content and then turn around and say, wow, that open world's really boring because you ignored most of it with the hook. Because game devs are still nerds and too many of them watch Gravity Falls and love the meme. Probably. Yo, is that a Beast Wars Megatron next to you? I was waiting for somebody to point that out. So this is the Beast Wars Kingdom. It's the War for Cybertron Kingdom Megatron. Rebecca got me this for my 25th birthday, and I love it, and I cherish it still to this day. it's a pretty good figure. Megatron sucked in War for Cybertron Kingdoms, but the figure of him does not suck. Oh, brother, you asked earlier? I am sorry, man. You get the credit. You get the credit. You asked first. I was trying to tell you what I feel 343 should have done with Cortana in Halo 5, and I did not get a response. I'm sorry, man. There's just like a lot of comments, you know? Let me see if I can scroll up and see what it was that you were saying.
Lost the lead.
They should have said Cortana was only physically cured of rampancy, but not mentally, and that's why she was so evil. Well, I think rampancy is... It's not like a physical thing that afflicts the AI. It is entirely mental. Like, the reason that the AI look crazy when they're rampant is because they use their own willpower to maintain their, like, visual avatars, you know? Honestly, I don't know if there's a lot 343 could have done to save Cortana, you know? Are you excited about the upcoming Transformers movie? Of course I am, man. It's Beast Wars characters. Super gutted that Ron Perlman is the voice of Optimus Primal. And it's not, what was his name? Gary Chalk? No, was that Megatron? You know who I'm talking about, the original voice of Optimus Primal. But, man, I'm excited to see the Cheetor, Air Razor. I'm bummed that we're not going to get a Beast Wars Megatron in this movie. It seems like Megatron isn't like a thing or not going to be a thing for a little while in the Transformers movies. Beast Wars Megs was better, better be in Rise of the Beasts. Hey, Pigpen, it's good to see you, man. Yeah, I agree. He better be in. And he better be a giant purple goofy-looking dinosaur. He's cooking up his cockamamie schemes. The Maximals will be lured into a most devious trap. Yes. God, Beast Wars is so good, dude. Rhinox. Yeah, we got Rhinox. You convinced me to start watching Transformers. Still here waiting for a Hang'em High remake in Infinite's Forge. Has anybody done Hang'em High in Infinite's Forge yet? Gary Chalk is Primal and David K was Megatron. That's correct. That's right. Thank you. I'm glad I got the Primal voice correct. Speaking of robots, what happened to the Gundam movie? I'm not sure. Gundam's a property I need to see if I can get into. Unfortunately, I was too late on the Ninja Turtles train. I'm a little bit too old now to get into Ninja Turtles. Not that Ninja Turtles is bad or not for adults. That's not what I'm saying. I think we had this conversation last time. It's more that, like, Ninja Turtles, I probably would have gotten way more into it if I was younger, because my tastes have changed as I've grown up, and now Ninja Turtles is not something that would interest me as an adult. But I know it would have interested me as a kid. Gundam, though, is in that sweet spot where I think there's still hope for Gundam to be able to get its way into my heart. Oof. Thoughts on Metal Gear Solid? Metal Gear Solid's pretty good. I'm personally more of a Splinter Cell fan. Well, the good ones. Like the first game and Chaos Theory, and I guess that's kind of it. But Metal Gear Solid 5 I enjoyed quite a bit. I don't have a lot of experience with the whole Metal Gear franchise. Just because between the two stealth games, stealth espionage games back in the day, it was either playing Metal Gear or Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, and I just liked Chaos Theory a lot. There's this weird white balloon high up in the sky outside my house. It's been there for a few days. Kind of like having him around. Dude, the memes that have come out of the spy balloon have been brilliant. I'm glad that we're back to, like, wacky stuff happening as opposed to, like, miserable stuff happening. The only Metal Gear game I liked was 5. I liked 5 too. It was kind of fun selecting my missions, dropping in the helicopter, and then just kind of like spending an hour sneaking into the base without making a sound, seeing if I could even get through it without killing or alerting anybody. Oh boy. This is the world's most embarrassing BR duel. Finally got him. Okay. Just run over this way. Damn it. Okay. Ayo, he just blown up. No, not my mans. The balloon caused everyone's brain to activate balloon tower defense mode. I saw some memes. There was like the balloons spotted, and then it was like there was like monkeys that escaped from some zoo in some United States city, and it's like everyone's like, yes, it's all coming together. Balloon tower defense. Can you transform Megatron for us, please? I could. No, bruh. The miserable stuff is still happening. You're just desensitized to it from prolonged exposure. You know what? That's true. I take it back. That is true. I shouldn't say miserable stuff isn't happening, because it certainly still is. I'm glad, though, at least now, like, it seems like at least now some funny stuff is happening. And it's not just exclusively miserable stuff. People still play Battlefield 5. They do, because Battlefield 5 is a pretty good game, surprisingly. It wasn't good at launch, but now it's in a good place. Did you watch Transformers Prime? I did. I watched all of it. I didn't watch any of the follow-up stuff, though. So I'm not sure, like, if any of it's good. Transformers Cyberverse I watched for a few episodes, but then kind of dropped off. And the Earth Spark, I'm not sure if I care too much about Earth Spark. Transformers Prime is the best Transformers show. No, I don't agree with that. I think it has probably season 1 has the best production value. But as far as quality Transformers stuff, I'm still going to give it to Transformers Beast Wars as well as Transformers Cybertron. I think Transformers Prime tries a little bit too hard to emulate the Bay movies with like a third of the budget. And so it just kind of ends up with like these very polished looking models all standing around a barren, detailless landscape. And repeating quotes from the movies, like, one shall stand, one shall fall. There's got to be, like, a counter for how many times Optimus said that in that show. It just got very repetitive for me. Now, at the drop of a hat, I could watch Waspinator being blown up over and over again, and that entertains me endlessly. Okay, let's get searching. Let's search for a big team battle, actually. And I will transform Beast Wars Megatron. Megatron, terrorize! Have you seen the Unicron trilogy? I have. I've watched Armada. Unfortunately, I've also watched Energon, and Cybertron is my jam. I really liked that one. What about the animated series? The animated series is also pretty damn good. I can't believe I forgot that. Prime is weird. The timeline is in that the timeline just kind of stops. There's a sequel series, but it's also pretty bad. Yeah, I've heard the sequel series isn't good for Transformers Prime, the Bumblebee. Because it's like, unfortunately, the fans of Transformers Prime who really liked that tone, the Bumblebee sequel series, Robots in Disguise, just didn't continue it. And then they kind of let Transformers Prime's universe fizzle out. And if I remember right, wasn't it like a combination of, it was like, kind of like, unfortunately, too many cooks in the kitchen, as well as like the studios wanting tie-ins to the Bay stuff at the time. So it was almost like their project got hijacked and turned into a Michael Bay support series. Like, you go see the movies and you come home and watch Transformers Prime. Look, Optimus just looks just like he does in the Bay movies. I hoped that 2042 would have been Battlefield 4, but futuristic with Battlefield 5 mechanics and Battlefield 1's atmosphere. I think that's what a lot of people were hoping for. I wouldn't have minded, honestly, just Battlefield 4 mechanics, because I still think that game plays incredibly well. I think Battlefield 5 plays really good in Battlefield 5, but it is also a little bit too slippery. Like, it is kind of like slippery, loosey-goosey, like people are kind of like sprint sliding around, crouch sprinting, vaulting over crazy tall walls, and you do kind of get like a bit of like, where is everybody? Where'd that guy come from? Because he's like scaling like entire buses. And I do think Battlefield 4 was like the perfect middle ground where it was heavy enough but also loose enough. Oof. Okay. We're almost there. We're almost there with the transforming. Skywarp will always be the best con. Yeah, Skywarp's pretty cool. I like his color scheme a lot. That's about it. I haven't read the IDW comics, but I've heard Skywarp is pretty great in it. Doesn't Skywarp become an actor, or does he become a film producer? I just picked up Battlefield 5 for $5, and I'm enjoying the crap out of it. Right? It's like, it's pretty good. It's not a great World War II shooter, but it's like, dude, it's a pretty solid Battlefield game. The squad synergy in that game is really strong. I do wish Battlefield 5 was a little bit more realistic. Yeah, at least the aesthetic of it. I do wish, like, you know, they stuck to that. Like, they don't exactly have to be super, super realistic and authentic, you know, because Battlefield 1 showed that you don't really need that. Like, Battlefield 1, there's nothing realistic about that. People were not running around with machine guns in World War I. In fact, at the start of World War I, they were still doing that, like, everybody marches out to a big field with their muskets and takes turns shooting at each other. Like, they were still employing some of those tactics, and it wasn't until, like, you know, reloading and, like, more, like, bolt weaponry when it was, like, we can fire more shots without reloading, and people started to, you know, dig their trenches and stuff. But Battlefield 1 showed that, like, if you're not going to portray the world realistically, at least imply authenticity. Like, try to portray it in a plausible way, where it feels like, yes, there are machine guns everywhere, but there clearly was a lot of time put into representing this fictional world of World War I with respect. I feel like I'm the only person who doesn't enjoy Halo 2's multiplayer. That's okay. Halo 2, at least on MCC, is really hard to get into because of, you know, hit detection issues. But Halo 2, if I could play it on the original Xbox servers, I feel like Halo 2 probably would dethrone Halo 3 as my favorite game. It's just that it was mostly, unfortunately, I missed the boat on Halo 2's multiplayer. And so Halo 3 was the most time that I put into a classic style Halo game. At least the online. But you know, Halo 2 is pretty good, man, even on the MCC. I liked Battlefield 5 gunplay and movement, but it was way too corny for my liking. See, I'm not sure if Battlefield 5 is... What do you mean by corny, I guess? I should ask. Because I found Battlefield 5 wasn't too corny. It's 2042 that's the really corny one. With those, like, stupid specialists. What do you think about Gears of War? Gears of War is Gears of War, man. It is... I haven't played Judgment because I don't have a lot of interest, but Gears of War has been consistent. Gears of War 1 is good. Gears of War 2 is freaking amazing. Gears of War 3 is good. 4 is good. 5 is good. Like, Gears of War has just consistently been puttering along. Quality has not dipped. It has just sustained itself outside of Gears of War 2, which is a peak of human achievement. Actually, you can play Halo on the OG Xbox. You can, but like, you know, you have to use like a whole bunch of fan-made services, and then you also have to coordinate. Like, you can't just turn on the original Xbox and load up into matchmaking, you know? You got to coordinate to make sure everybody's playing. Oh boy. I didn't even see that guy. Ooh. Damn it. I'm out of ammo. Hot take. Doom Eternal's gameplay is kind of dog water. Oh, I don't know if it's dog water. I feel like Doom Eternal's gameplay is incredibly intelligently designed. Like, there's no fat. It just all works and has a purpose. But I think, unfortunately, for me at least, it's how rigid it is and inflexible. That's what turns me off from Doom Eternal. Not that, by the way, Doom Eternal's a great game, and when I play Doom Eternal, I have a great time with it. It's just very exhausting to play because of how specific and how many different mechanics you have to juggle in every Doom Eternal encounter. It does get very tiring to play because you have to keep up with so many like micro systems. I think the DLC in Doom Eternal went too far. Yeah, I finished the DLC 1 for Doom Eternal, and then I started DLC 2 and was like, no. No. I'm done. I don't need any more of this. How do you see the rest of Halo Infinite playing out, updating content-wise? The way I see it is we're probably going to get a lot of resources put into the monetization stuff, customization stuff. I doubt we'll ever see a massive UI overhaul. I doubt we'll see expansions to the campaign experience. They'll probably just barely get in the missing modes. Super chat. Thank you for letting me know. Battlefield 5 felt like hardcore due to the health system. That's a good way to put it. Battlefield 5 is... So Battlefield 1 was a game that I could play without sound. I could just like play it idly with like podcasts playing. But Battlefield 5, I can't do that. I have to be listening intently. It's a very intense game because of its health system. It does feel kind of like hardcore. Not, the game's hardcore. I mean, like, literally the hardcore mode with its health system and values and stuff. We're almost done transforming Megatron. Hang on, I'm almost there. I think Wolfenstein The New Order is slept on. I don't think it's slept on. I think everybody is in agreement that that game was amazing. When it came out, it like floored everybody. Total Biscuit actually rated it as his game of the year. And when he previewed it at E3, he thought it was going to be dog shit. I think it's very fairly rated. In fact, actually, I think it's the sequel that's a little bit underrated. Not that the sequel doesn't have problems, but the sequel is a much better game narratively than I think people let on. And then, of course... Uh-oh, a piece fell off him. That's not good. Oh well, he looks fine. Alright, yeah, we'll put him right there. Purple dinosaur robot. Battlefield 1's atmosphere is unmatched. I agree, man. I don't know what it is about like games at that time, but it felt like the production value was a lot better, right? Because like Battlefield 5 looks beautiful, right? But I don't think it looks as cohesive as Battlefield 1. Same with like the modern Call of Duty games. Like I think Call of Duty World War II, I think looks more artistically cohesive than like the modern Call of Duty titles, which look a little bit scattered and like the dips in production value are super noticeable. Thoughts on Noble Intentions? Saw it starts tomorrow, but I haven't seen it advertised. I have no clue about Noble Intentions. Maybe it will come out tomorrow. Maybe it was supposed to come out tomorrow, but plans changed internally, but the actual like data and the API hasn't been I don't know, man. It'll be nice if it does release tomorrow, and if it doesn't release tomorrow, Halo Infinite under-delivering. What's new, you know? Ooh. Damn it. Wolfenstein 2 has a more complex story, but New Order is a better overall package. Agreed. Agreed. Wolfenstein The New Order is a perfect action experience. Great gameplay, great level design, and a story that complements the gameplay beautifully. Wolfenstein 2 is... The story is very good, but unfortunately, the gameplay suffers due to a lack of polish, but also sometimes, unfortunately, because of the story. You be sleeping on Ultra Kill for real, for real. What is Ultra Kill? Is it one of those like those sprite-based shooters, corridor shooters? Battlefield 1 also took itself a bit more seriously than games do now. So much one-liners and jokes, like every game is written like a Marvel movie. Oh, like the witty banter, like the well, that just happened. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I'm really tired of the witty, like, the every character is a Tony Stark, flippant, like, doesn't really care about what's going on, not taking anything seriously. Oh, boy. Thoughts on The Last of Us TV series? I haven't seen it yet, but what I've seen, it looked really good, and that bums me out as a Halo fan. Are you looking forward to Starfield? Of course I'm looking forward to Starfield, man. Man, we're just getting creamed. I don't want to say that. Don't take that out of context. Seriously, dude, you need to play Ultra Kill. It's awesome. I'll give it a try. Is it on Game Pass? Oh, don't get me started on the disaster that Marvel-level writing has been in all forms of entertainment. The MCU humor trend needs to die off fast. Oh, no. Just be happy for The Last of Us. Think positive. Well, here's the thing. I don't like The Last of Us. I don't think The Last of Us games are like the bee's knees. I think they have high production value, but as games, they're kind of like boring. So it's like a jealousy because it's like, God damn it. It's like, God damn it, why is Halo suffer and The Last of Us gets the good? Like, Last of Us already has goodwill. I miss Battlefield Bad Company. That was a wonderful couple of games. I'm surprised they didn't do another, especially since the second ended on a cliffhanger. It is weird that they haven't, like, Battlefield's been getting desperate, man. Like, Battlefield 5 was Battlefield 5 because, well, 4, people like 4, let's make Battlefield 5. But then Battlefield 5 came out and it's like, oh crap, let's make a game that kind of sounds like 2142, Battlefield 2042. It's like, do it, do a Bad Company 3, just do it, like Battlefield needs that. Base take. It was probably a bit easier to translate to TV since The Last of Us is more story than it is game. That's true. That's true. The Last of Us is more. It's a game that just wished it was a TV show, and now it is, and it's no surprise that it's doing really good. The Last of Us seems more like a flex for Sony at this point, right? Their mushroom zombie game. But also God of War now. Like, they've been able to crawl God of War back into becoming, like, a big hitter. They got a lot of goodwill with Horizon Zero Dawn. Like, Sony, they've been hit. That's a pretty good death pose. They've been hitting on all fronts with their exclusive lineup. As someone who hasn't played either, I can't tell the difference between COD and Battlefield. The difference is that Call of Duty, you create a class, a loadout, and you run around and you get kill streaks. Like, you kill 3 guys, now you can throw up a UAV, and that UAV lets you see people on your little radar, and then you get 5 kills, and you can call in an airstrike, and it's just like, you know, people running around like chickens with their heads cut off. Battlefield is much slower and focused more on huge, large player counts and destructible environments. And instead of you creating a class, you have, well, instead of you creating like your loadouts and stuff, you have classes to choose from. Like, are you going to be the healer? Are you going to be the support giving out ammo? I'm probably going to play one more match, okay? Then I'm going to hop off. But dude, I was in class today and my teacher was playing the Halo 3 soundtrack. It was pretty freaking cool. That's cool. That your teacher has good taste in music. Damn, Halo is imploding? Sort of, a little bit, maybe. At least the single player part of it. One thing about The Last of Us, though, in my opinion, the scariest zombies. The cordyceps zombies could very much become a real thing. The only thing keeping us from that is a few degrees of body temperature. No, that... Our body temperature is not the only thing keeping cordyceps from us. Listen, like, The Last of Us, I've seen that intro, okay? It's very good, but no, it's not accurate, okay? Cordyceps is not... this. Like, cordyceps has been around for a very long time. It's just one of many funguses. Like, cordyceps is not an immediate danger to the human race. That part of The Last of Us is fictional. And people play it up as in it's like, it's the most realistic thing that could possibly happen. It's like, no, the mushrooms are not going to take over our brains and turn us into 28 days later zombies. I'm sorry. It's a scary idea, but it's not going to happen, okay? I prefer Halo 2 Anniversary to classic Halo 2 multiplayer. That's fair. Halo 2 Anniversary, just purely based off of the different engine, it probably has a very different feel. Dude, it's a fungus that kills ants. Not even a fungus that kills ants, it's a fungus that makes ants get eaten by larger things so that those larger things can poop. And then its spores are in the poop and they can spread to more ants. And that's the cordyceps life cycle. Like, they're not going to turn people into rampaging virus zombies, okay? Hey, we just played the last couple of games together. Nice, nice. But what if it was genetically mutated, maybe? Well, if it was genetically mutated, it wouldn't be like... So the way genetic mutations happen is it's not like The Last of Us, where it's like, suddenly, cordyceps has jumped to humans. Like, this stuff happens over the course of hundreds, if not thousands of years. It's not like just suddenly now there's zombies. You know, if it did ever become compatible with humans, there's no telling if it would literally just be like... Do you know how many foreign agents are currently in your body that should not be there and don't benefit you, but they can't do anything but live in you currently? You'd probably be surprised at the amount of like parasites that our body is currently hosting right now, but they don't do anything because they can't do anything. The cordyceps is not going to magically figure out how to take over our nervous system, and beyond that, make us act like 28 days later zombies. Much less in the TV show, didn't they have like a cartoon network like literally the cordyceps vines were like growing and wrapping around things really fast. It's like, do you know how long it takes mushrooms to grow? They don't move like the grave mind with tentacles in a matter of minutes. Like we're fine, okay? Well, it does kill the ants and sprouts where it decides to. Where it decides to sprout is in a tall place so that it can be hopefully eaten by birds, and then those birds can poop. And then the poop from those birds carries spores that hopefully more ants eat, and then those ants go back up to the tall place and basically kind of wave around and be like, look at me, I'm a target, like eat me. And that's the life cycle of cordyceps. Shout out to gut bacteria for being the real one. Yeah, the gut bacteria, they're pretty dope, man. It's bacteria that actually helps us. Like they're little bugs, and they live in your stomach. And sure, they're bacteria, but you know what? They help us break down stuff that our body struggles with. So you know what? They get a little bit of food, and in return, they take care of us. It's quid pro quo. Gut bacteria are the real ones. I mean, even if cordyceps zombies were real, they probably wouldn't make us aggressive, but instead we'd isolate ourselves like the ants do when infected. Still a bit freaky, but unlikely, to be honest. Well, there are currently parasites that do... Have you guys ever looked up the science? There might be a scientific reason why cat people are a thing, and it's because of parasites. There's a lot that influences our behavior that I don't think a lot of people consider. And some of it is parasitic in nature. Like parasites that influence our behaviors, that's been a thing for a while. Cordyceps isn't the first parasite to ever influence a creature's behavior. It's just, you know, for The Last of Us, they wanted to make zombies. They didn't want it to be like the rabies, though, so they were like, I don't know. What about mushrooms? Well, are there mushrooms that control people? The closest we could find is this one that makes ants get eaten by birds and turned into poop. Close enough. Oh, he's letting me drive. This is blue. Oh my god. What is going on? Oh yeah. Yeah, come on, get in. All right, we got a traitor on the blue team. No, don't kill him. Cats don't meow with each other, only for humans. That's true. Cat people is in people who prefer cats, right? Yes. There is a theory that there is a certain parasite in cat feces, which is why it's kind of like dangerous to take out cat litter without, proper protection. And it's possible that the parasite influences people to want to be near cats more. I read this a while ago, and somebody's probably going to have to, debunk it or something, but... Help! I've been turned into a mushroom! The Last of Us versus the Flood. Well, both are space mushrooms. I'd say the Flood, just because the Flood, there's an intelligence. You know what is something that I do actually appreciate about The Last of Us show quite a bit? And it's something that bugged me about the original Last of Us game. Okay, so spores, right? Well, in The Last of Us, maybe this is just me, okay? But Joel is in this sweaty shirt, and it's spores. And then he puts on a gas, and his hair is exposed, his ears are open, and he's got this sweaty, damp shirt, and he's you can see the spores in the air, the fog is so thick. And it's he comes out of it, and he just, oh my god, fresh air, and it's bro, take off your clothes and sanitize them, and then get into a bleach bath. You're covered. Shave your head, man. It's in your hair right now. And it's cool that the Last of Us show, I assume they also thought that was going to be a problem, so they just got rid of spores entirely. Each cordyceps species also targets a very specific ant. It's really complicated. Yeah, cordyceps doesn't just magically jump to humans. It's taken so long for it to carefully evolve to control ants. It's not just now it's jumped to humans, Mushrooms can also send you to the center of the universe if you want. That's true. That's true as well. Cat urine has a parasite that causes mice and rats to be attracted to cats. It can also cause humans to behave recklessly, linked to motorcycle deaths, apparently, late night gaming. Yeah, so see right there's more of a likelihood of cat pee zombies than there are mushroom ant bird poop zombies. Yeah, thank you, by the way, MOS, for checking that out. Alrighty, guys. Everyone has stomach worms, and you can actually get them flushed, says Rebecca. Yeah, parasites have been a thing for a while, and in fact, it would probably benefit the parasite to stay hidden as possible, because that's how you survive as an organism. You don't draw attention to yourself by turning you into a rampaging 28 days later zombies. That's how your species goes extinct, because intelligent species would quickly identify that this is a problem and euthanize it. That's why, so as an example, COVID, as it continues to mutate and now becomes just basically a part of, unfortunately, the everyday thing. COVID, we failed to take care of it, we failed to control it, and now it's going to kind of become this reoccurring thing, almost like the seasonal flu. And in order to better survive over the many generations, COVID is going to mutate to become less lethal than it currently is, so that it can stay alive longer, so that it can just live in people. You know, you get sick, you don't even know what you're sick with, but it feels kind of like the flu, and then you walk away fine. Turns out that was COVID. And the reason, you know, that COVID kind of continues to live is because it's trying to downplay its effects over time. By the way, that's not advocating for herd immunity. That shit's nonsense. Okay, get vaccinated. Oh no, this stream is going to get slapped with the COVID context label from YouTube now. Probably. The cat litter thing sounds like BS. Somebody corrected me. It was not cat poop, it was cat pee. But hopefully that sends you guys down some fun rabbit holes. Guys, this was a lot of fun, okay, this stream. I shall bid you all adieu, okay? Thank you for joining me. And I shall see you all later, okay?